Hey guys, and welcome to the Working Money Channel. So Tony Valentino, always giving us some great info and a lot of information to really just kind of think about. That's at TonyVal764-76318 on Twitter. And yesterday he posted this and I wanted to come back to it. Stablecoins make no sense. Rather keep your money in your bank account. It's just as stable there. Now, on the surface, that makes a lot of sense, right? Why buy a cryptocurrency that is just going to remain stable? That doesn't make any sense. And he's referring to this article here from Cointelegraph. Tether is actively traded and well regarded in Asia, but trust in the stablecoin remains low in the West. And so, even Brad Garlinghouse has come out to say, you don't need a stablecoin. It's kind of a redundancy within the system just because XRP is, or rather RippleNet is interoperable with many different fiats, cryptos, so on and so forth, and they will be using XRP to make those transactions happen, using XRP to source that liquidity and use it as that backbone currency. Well, so on the surface, you can see this doesn't really make sense. But guys, think about it. In a bull run, when there is mayhem and you are watching the price of your cryptocurrency, whether it's XRP, Bitcoin, whatever you hold, go up and up and up, and you want to cash some out, right? Maybe you have a plan. Okay, I'm gonna cash out X amount of my XRP at $10, let's say, and XRP's at like $9.96, $9.97, $9.98, $9.99. Well, how am I going to do this? What am I going to do? Well, this is part of the reason why stable coins exist, and I have a feeling that they were originally intended for this purpose. When you go on Binance, right, you can you can see all the different kinds of cryptocurrencies you can trade. Some of them have base pairs with other cryptos, more popular ones like Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP is on there as well. But you can also trade pretty much all of them, I think actually all of them, to stablecoins, whether it's Tether or Pax. There are different kinds. I don't have my Binance account up here, but just to show you, right, if you're holding XRP and you're seeing it's hitting your price point that you want to exit, what do? What's the safest thing to do? Well, put it into something, obviously, that isn't as volatile. Obviously, a fiat peg cryptocurrency would do just that. So guys, just keep that in mind in a bull run. That's why we have stable coins. But I get Tony Valentino's point. I would never be trading or rather sending stable coins around to pay for things. That to me doesn't really make sense. It seems a little redundant. Anyway, I saw this on AMB Crypto. Ripple exec, US is really falling behind with China's announcement. Again, more jabs at the US government, this time from Chris Larson and Michael Arrington, founder of Arrington XRP. And so they discuss the idea that China is, right on top of it, and the US is indeed lagging behind. The duo had a lot to offer the enthusiastic XRP and crypto community when they discuss US regulators and China's interest in blockchain and crypto. Larson termed China's entry huge and stated that it also meant that US regulators had to step up even though they were doing a pretty good job. But Michael Arrington laughingly disagreed with the latter part of Larson's statement and countered, I think we have a difference of opinion on the US regulatory ability or willingness to do a good job. However, Larson called the United States a leader in internet revolution, but with the lack of regulations, it could have been difficult. He noted the other difference, though, is that finance is just way more complicated than where we're just dealing with data. Words can only do so much. Money can buy bullets. Very good point. I mean, the US is doing a good job in that they are doing their due diligence. They don't want to necessarily misstep on this because it could have serious ramifications rippling throughout the economic infrastructure, throughout the finance world. And so they want to get it right, obviously. Really interesting point there. Two different points of view from Larson and Michael Arrington. I saw this retweeted from I Am Legion on Twitter and from Payments, the website that reports on everything fintech. Online lending faces instant payment challenges. Find out how partnering with fintechs can help. And so links to this article here. And guys, I'll link this article in the description if you want to read further. Essentially just stating that the world of finance is becoming more and more complex, and we're starting to see more companies move in the direction of digital finance. It talks a little bit about some Scandinavian banks and the payment solution with P27 and their official launch in 2021. Talks about how networks like MasterCard are seeking ways to bring faster distribution to workers that may be living paycheck to paycheck or are reliant on gig or freelance work. And that's a big thing, right? Ever since the collapse of 2008, the world has seen a redistribution. Whereas before there were a lot more full-time jobs jobs and, traditional jobs essentially. And ever since the financial crisis, ever since that restructuring, that redistribution, a lot of companies are now hiring people on as freelancers, in quotes, essentially giving them full-time work until they don't need them anymore and then ditching them. I personally have a problem with that. I'm noticing that a lot more in this day and age. I mean, I've been a freelancer. I was a freelancer before the economic crisis, and I'm currently a freelancer, so it doesn't really affect me. I'm kind of used to that ebb and flow. But for a lot of people, people who are used to having full-time jobs, 9 to 5s, this is disruptive, and so it's important to be able to pay your bills, right? Sometimes these people, they can't rely that they will have a job in 8 months. So how do you save? How do you structure that? Well, getting paid instantly is going to be one of those things. There was this idea floating around that imagine if you got paid every hour for every hour of work you did. So if you were getting paid hourly, let's say, and you weren't on salary, and for every hour you were working, you got paid after that hour. Brad Garlinghouse was toying with this idea a while back when he was being interviewed on some kind of a panel. I don't remember where, but he's saying realistically, XRP and Ripple can do just that. They have the infrastructure so that people can be paid in a more efficient manner. And he says, there's a reason why traditionally they've done payroll every 2 weeks, and it's because the paperwork and the monotony of it is just so tedious that if they were to do it every single week, or rather every single day, it would just be way too much work. Well, with RippleNet, we can solve those problems. So that, again, is part of this idea of instant payments, getting your money instantly. But of course, Ripple and XRP takes it one step further with instant settlement. So again, guys, I'll link this in the description for those of you guys who want to read. I saw this too. Ripple-powered payments giant reveals plan to reach 15 million people and 1.5 million merchants. So this happening in Asia. Japanese financial giant SBI says it's bringing the Ripple-powered payment app MoneyTap to millions of users by partnering with the mobile payments company PayPay. And we heard about the PayPay partnership last week. MoneyTap launched at the beginning of October. The Bangalore-based startup is a subsidiary of the banking giant and Ripple partner SBI Holdings. Let's go down here to the SBI statement. In this business alliance, when the user charges the PayPay balance from the bank account, it does not go through the existing infrastructure such as CAFIS by going through the MoneyTap infrastructure provided by MoneyTap. You can now charge directly from your bank account. This will reduce the burden of connection with individual financial institutions at PayPay and will enable connection with operators at a lower cost than existing infrastructure at financial institutions. So Ripple helping this along, bringing more than 15 million customers into the 21st century by revolutionizing digital payments. Not to mention 1.5 million local merchants. Boy, this stuff is really happening fast and furiously in Asia. No wonder Ripple has decided that they want to have their swell this year in Singapore. Guys, I also saw this tweet here from Carlos on Twitter at 34_JCarlos. He tagged me in this. It's going to take some time, but sooner or later it's going to happen. And we were here first, and this is what I tell everybody. Guys, if you get into XRP now, you are essentially, it's like getting into the internet in 1994 or 1995 when nobody was online. Dial-up connections, right? Searching that handful of websites and maybe your email, staying online for maybe 15, 20 minutes at a time because somebody needed to make a call on the landline. You couldn't stay on longer than that. Boy, those were the days. Much simpler times. Anyways, he links to this Google spreadsheet and a few snapshots here. These aren't from the spreadsheet. This is from the MoneyGram Ripple partnership overview, essentially detailing the MoneyGram partnership and how using XRP will essentially change their system. And this whole process only takes 60 seconds. At scale, the partnership will migrate from pre-funding based liquidity management to more closely align funding and settlement. And guys, in this statement, similar to the dilemma faced by global financial institutions, corporates are increasingly looking for solutions to consolidate the liquidity tied up with the Nostro account balances required to fund their overseas payments. And despite continued banking innovation, transactional account balances have never been higher. At the end of 2015, balances in transactional accounts exceeded $27 trillion. And that, guys, is the icing. Ripple with XRP will be able to alleviate that transactional volume. Companies like MoneyGram will now be able to keep that money and use it for other purposes rather than having it just sitting in an account waiting to be sent to a client somewhere around the world. It doesn't make sense, it's inefficient, and XRP is obviously going to fix those inefficiencies. And although it seems as though the ball is starting to get rolling in Asia, the Asia Pacific region in particular, we are still waiting to see this volume in the Western world, in the United States in particular. It's all about those regulations. Chris Larson thinks the US government's doing a good job. Michael Arrington, not so much, but I want to hear what you guys think. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Like the video if you like the content I'm providing. I always love hearing your comments. See you in the next one, guys.